The last big-name free agent appears closer to be making his decision. It's like the mid-'90s. It's East Coast versus West Coast. You got the Dodgers and the Mets, and we're going to talk to our insider in just a second. But there are so many things that John Smoltz said are talked about Trevor Bauer. But one thing that you mentioned before we came on here that's not really talked about enough is his durability.
Yeah, he's proven. I mean, as unorthodox his style that he has, he's proven he can be healthy. Now the question's going to be, I don't see a long-term deal, but I mean long-term like 6-7 years.
Right.
Because there's still some things that he is working out both on and off the field that are intriguing to some, but his consistency of making starts. And I like the fact that he's taunting some organizations saying, let me pitch every 4 days. I'll show you I can do it. I like that. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think you're going to see this come down to maybe the 3-year deal, who gives him a little bit more than the other team per year. But he has definitely he's changed my view of him. When he first broke into the league, I'm like, there's no way this guy can do what he's doing. He made the necessary adjustments. Didn't deviate from his program per se, that his brain and body are connected, and I give him all the credit in the world for that.
He is polarizing, Dan, but he wants the ball. He loves the moment. And it seems like there is no moment that's too big for him.
You know, he reminds me of a guy I played with the Cubs and while I was with the Toronto Blue Jays, Randy Myers, left-handed closer. There was a method to Randy Myers' madness, right? It was something that was outside the box, the way he worked out, the way he threw, his pregame routine, his in-game routine, but it worked. And sometimes I'm a believer in, even if your plan is a bad plan, it's better to have that than no plan at all. But I will give Trevor Bauer this credit. He is always trying to make adjustments in his game, in his workouts, to stay healthy, to improve himself, to spin on his breaking ball. He's always looking to improve, and he always seems to be ahead of the curve. And in 2020, he took it to another level.
Yeah, last time we saw him in that wild card or in that playoff game against the Braves, 7 2/3, 12 strikeouts. All right, so let's get you caught up on what we know at this moment. JP Morosi, our insider, tweeting out this: the Mets are increasingly confident that they will sign Trevor Bauer. Source says, although the situation remains fluid. John Heyman, another insider here at the network, mentioning the Dodgers. The Dodgers are indeed the other team still vying for Trevor Bauer via sources. They have the advantage of being his hometown team and also the World Series champion. Should be an interesting battle that's expected to be settled within 24 hours. And then Rachel Luba, who is the agent for Trevor Bauer. She tweeted this earlier on Thursday: down to 2. For more, let's bring in MLB.com's executive reporter and one of our insiders here at the network, Mark Feinsand. Mark, what sense do you have on what the differences are between what the Dodgers are offering and reportedly what the Mets are offering?
Yeah, the Mets have reportedly come up with an offer of about 3 or 4 years worth about $30 million a year. There's a thought that the Dodgers are looking at doing something shorter term than that for a higher AAV. So the question is the AAV more important to Bauer? Is the length of the deal more important to Bauer? How much of a factor is pitching in Southern California, where he's from? Go to the Mets, we're obviously a big market in New York itself. There are a lot of interesting factors when you pit New York and LA against each other. My indications from people I've spoken to is that he honestly hasn't made a decision. There's no deal in place. There's no decision in place. And, even though this has gotten a lot of smoke today, there's no guarantee this is going to be done tonight, let alone within the next 24 hours.
Yeah, and you touched on it a little bit, some of the things that he's considering. Obviously, dollars are probably going to carry the day, but what are some other factors or other things that will be factors in this pursuit of Trevor Bauer?
Well, I mean, I think just the idea of where he wants to pitch, which team maybe meets his philosophy in terms of his analytics and letting him sort of do his thing. Obviously, the Mets have a new front office in place, so it's sort of remained to be seen. But remember, their general manager is an analytics guy, and Zach Scott. So, Bauer wants to pitch every 4 days. Does either team let him do that? It's unlikely, but you never know. So I think, location, which team has a better chance to win? Obviously, the Dodgers are coming off of a World Series. The Mets are making a lot of big moves to try to get there. These are two really appealing options if you're Trevor Bauer. So, at the end of the day, the term of the contract, the length, and the money is probably what it's always going to come down to.